Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text number 48. Sahajang karma kaunteya sadoshang api na tyajit savarambha hi doshena dhumenagnir ivavrita. Sahajam, born simultaneously. Karma, work. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti. Sadosham, with fault. Api, although. Na, never. Tyajit, one should give up. Sarva arambha, all ventures. He, certainly. Doshena, with fault. Dhumena, with smoke. Agni, fire. Iva, as. Avrita, covered. Every endeavor is covered by some fault. Just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work born of his nature. So there again, that same line, born of his nature. O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. Yes, so let's take a look at Arjuna. He already demonstrated after so many years what is his nature. He's a warrior. That's his nature. Means that's how he's naturally. Every one of us has a nature. Yes, I agree with you. At 15, you're not quite sure what is your nature. But nature means, what do you like to do? What do you feel very comfortable? For me, my nature, to sing, to speak, to read shastras, to eat Indian food. I have a certain nature. My nature is also to be fun. That's why my wife married me. She said, I married you because you make Krishna consciousness fun. My nature is to be sociable with people, to be friendly, and to preach Krishna consciousness. That's my nature. My nature is not to do business. That's not my nature. I make a horrible businessman. My business is not to be an administrator either. I could not be an administrator. So we all have a certain nature. And Krishna is pointing out, yes, but even with that, there's going to be some fault. We even say in the American language, to err is human. So nobody's perfect. Okay, let's look at the purport. In conditioned life, all work is contaminated by the material modes of nature. Even if one is a Brahmin, he has to perform sacrifices in which animal killing is necessary. Similarly, a Kshatriya, however pious he may be, has to fight enemies. He cannot avoid it. Similarly, a merchant, however pious he may be, must sometimes hide his profit to stay in business, or he may sometimes have to do business on the black market. Be careful. Be careful. These things are necessary. One cannot avoid them. Similarly, even though a man is a Shudra, serving a bad master, he has to carry out the order of the master, even though it should not be done. Despite these flaws, one should continue to carry out his prescribed duties, for they are born out of his own nature. A very nice example is given herein. Although fire is pure, still there is smoke. Yet smoke does not make the fire impure. Even though there is smoke in the fire, fire is still considered to be the purest of all elements. If one prefers to give up the work of a Kshatriya and take up the occupation of a Brahmana, he is not assured that in the occupation of a Brahmana there are no unpleasant duties. One may then conclude that in the material world, no one can be completely free from the contamination of material nature. This example of fire and smoke is very appropriate in this connection. When in wintertime, one takes a stone from the fire, sometimes smoke disturbs the eyes and other parts of the body, but still one must make use of the fire despite disturbing conditions. Similarly, one should not give up his natural occupation because there are some disturbing elements. Rather, one should be determined to serve the Supreme Lord by his occupational duty in Krishna consciousness. That is the perfectional point. When a particular type of occupation is performed for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, all the defects in that particular occupation are purified. When the results of work are purified, when connected with devotional service, one becomes perfect in seeing the self within, and that is self-realization. So, all of you, you have your own professions. Psychiatrist, lawyer, businessman. Some of you work for the government, doctor. You all have, and I'm sure there are parts of your business or work that you don't necessarily care for. I know if I was a lawyer, sometimes you have to defend somebody you know is guilty. And that's like, eek. Like my son-in-law, for a time he was living in Fresno and he was working, he got a job in the government and he had to represent all these crazy, bad drug addict people. And so he didn't like it because he knew that they were bad criminals and he has to defend them. He goes, this is not for me. But the point is, in all of your occupations, there's going to be something you may not like to do. But here Krishna is saying, you have to stick to your prescribed duty. Let us go on. Yes. Nice to see you.
So isn't it saying that all of the four qualities of the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Shudra, that sometimes that it requires all parts of some of them in our nature?
Yes. Yes, nobody is strictly a Brahmin. Yes, there's going to be mixtures. Like, I'll be very honest with you. I am a mixture of Brahmin and Shudra. That's my nature. So yes, everybody is going to have other things. Nobody is strictly, because this is the age of Kali. In the age of Kali, everyone's basically Sudra anyway. But there are going to be other things in there.
In other yugas, Brahman used to follow Brahman activities, so they just stay in that.
Yes, and the parents were doing the Garbhadan Samskara, so a Brahmana couple was begetting a Brahmana child. But now this is Kali Yuga, and the Garbhadan Samskara and all the other rituals are not performed, so you're not getting. Okay. Shall we go to the next verse? All right. So another thing here is, as you can see, Krishna's teachings in the Bhagavad Gita are practical, not impractical. Krishna is not making things impractical. He understands what it means to be in this material world, and he is admitting, yes, every work is covered by some fault. Don't worry about it. Do your duty, but the main thing is to do your work on behalf of the Supreme Lord. That's the real thing, which is what we are trying to do. We are promoting and helping and instructing people how to become devotees. Whether you're a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, we don't care. Everybody is welcome. Let's say, give this example, my group. We don't discriminate anyone except for one thing. What's the only thing that would get you kicked out of this group? No. 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 There are people who don't chant.
The Mayavadi philosophy?
No. That you don't accept Prabhupada. That would be the only thing. I will accept anyone in this group. I will tolerate anything, but you have to accept Prabhupada, what he teaches. You don't accept Prabhupada, I can't help you. But one lady, I don't know if you remember, she was coming.
In the temple.
And she was coming here too. And she had a problem with Prabhupada, and I said, that's it. Can't have you. That one time, I remember Lokanath Maharaj came to Mehta's house to do a program. So I was there, and Lokanath Maharaj asked, so what is the requisite to be in your group? And I said, no requisite. Just be part of the group. And he made that joke, oh, you're more merciful than Lord Chaitanya. And everybody laughed. But then later I realized, actually I do have. You have to accept Prabhupada's teachings. Then you can be part of this group. If you accept Prabhupada's, in other words, you can accept or not accept, but don't challenge me. Yeah, okay? Yes, I'm not forcing that you have to accept, but don't make an issue that, well, Prabhupada is goodbye. And this okay, in the government over the last couple of days, the Supreme Court passed all these laws. And now everybody's freaking out. Let's get rid of the Supreme Court because I didn't like what they said. Come on. So for this group, the Supreme Court is Prabhupada. All right? Is that okay? Jai. Text 49. Asakti buddhi sarvatra jitatma vigata spriha naishkarmya siddhim paramam sanyasenadi gachyati asakta buddhi, having unattached intelligence, sarvatra, everywhere, jitta atma, having control of the mind. So notice the word atma can mean soul, it can mean body, can mean the mind. The word atma can be used 7 different ways. Vigata spriha, without material desires. Naishkarmya siddhim, the perfection of non-reaction. Paramam, supreme. Sanyasena, by the renounced order of life. Adhi gacchati. One attains. Please repeat. One who is self-controlled and unattached and who disregards all material enjoyments can obtain by the practice of renunciation the highest perfect stage of freedom from reaction. So this is, he has just gone through the modes of nature, the Brahman. Now he's coming to beyond Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, the stage where you are no longer affected by the modes of nature. Let's look at the purport. Real renunciation means that one should always think himself part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and therefore think he has no right to enjoy the results of his work. Since he is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, the results of his work must be enjoyed by the Supreme Lord. This is actually Krishna consciousness. The person acting in Krishna consciousness is really a sannyasi, one in the renounced order of life. By such a mentality, one is satisfied because he is actually acting for the Supreme. Thus, he is not attached to anything material. He becomes accustomed to not taking pleasure in anything beyond the transcendental happiness derived from service of the Lord. A sannyasi is supposed to be free from the reactions of his past activities, but a person who is in Krishna consciousness automatically attains this perfection without even accepting the so-called order of renunciation. This state of mind is called Yoga Rudha, or the perfectional stage of yoga. As confirmed in the 3rd chapter, Yastvatman Ratir Eva Syat. One is satisfied in himself, has no fear of any kind of reaction from his activity. So, throughout the Bhagavatam and also Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are so many examples. Ambarish Maharaj, the Pandavas, and in the Chaitanya Charitamrita you have Ramananda Roy and all of the associates of Lord Chaitanya. Ramananda Roy was considered Shudra, but yet he was giving instructions to Lord Chaitanya. That's because although Ramananda Roy externally behaved as a Shudra, he was in the transcendental position. Haridas Thakur wasn't even a Hindu. He was Muslim. Yet Lord Chaitanya made him the teacher of the holy name. Lord Chaitanya is so amazing. Who did he make the teacher of the holy name? A Muslim. Rupa and Sanatan, although born in Brahmana families, were kicked out of the Brahmin society because they worked for the Muslim government. And they even took on Muslim names, Sakara Malik, Dabir Khas. But Lord Chaitanya made him his first 2 direct disciples and turned them into Goswamis. So Krishna consciousness transcends all material designations. So always remember that what you are simply, and Prabhupada mentioned it, you're simply Krishna's devotee. That's all you, eternally Krishna's devotee. And if you have that consciousness that I am eternally Krishna's devotee, then you'll know exactly what and how to act in every single circumstance. Because that is how you become free from false ego. You become free from false ego when you constantly are thinking yourself, I am simply Krishna's eternal servant. I may have to play the part of a doctor or a father and chastise my sons. I may play the role of a lawyer or a psychiatrist or an engineer or a businessman. These are roles that we play. But behind all of that, I am simply Krishna's devotee. That's it, Krishna's servant. I may be a housewife. Fine. You have to do your household duties, but I am Krishna's servant. Everybody chant the Maha Mantra.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare.
Today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, based on the verses that we studied today, Krishna reminded me of this verse. After Lord Brahma stole all the cowherd boys and calves, what did Krishna do?
He expanded himself.
As?
Cowherd boys and calves.
Why did he do that?
Teach Brahma. Krishna.
Okay, teach Brahma a lesson, but I like what you said also. Krishna was worried that the mothers and the cows are going to be totally in distress. So for them, he expanded, but also, yes, to teach Brahma a lesson. Good, those are good answers. So, after 1 year, when it was revealed to Brahma, and what did Krishna do to show Brahma? What did he do? Brahma thought, wait, the cow, didn't I put... But then something happened. What did Krishna do?
Same cowherd boy and
Yeah, what? No, he already did that, but he did something to show Brahma. All those cowherd boys and calves turned into Vishnu forms to show him that I have been expanding myself as these cowherd boys and calves for 1 year. And when Brahma saw that, he became very, very small, because the Vishnu forms were very big and he felt like a little tiny little, right? Imagine if the whole room right now filled up with these 10-foot tall Vishnu forms. You would feel pretty like meek and humble, wouldn't you? So after this, Lord Brahma offered prayers, apologizing and glorifying Krishna. And it's even described that Brahma was crying and he fell down like a golden rod to offer obeisances, and he was rubbing his eyes. And so he offered these prayers. And this is one of the prayers. Gyane prayasam udapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukatarang bhavadiya vartam stane stita shutiketang tanom van manubir yaprayasho jita jitto pi asitrais trilokyam. Please repeat. Lord Brahma said, my dear Lord, those devotees who have thrown away the impersonal conception of the absolute truth and have therefore abandoned discussing empiric philosophical truths. So that's what the impersonalists do. They simply discuss empiric philosophy, they speculate and they discuss the absolute truth. It's not this, it's not this, it's not this. But they cannot come up with a definitive description of the absolute truth, what is. For instance, the example, say you were to describe an elephant's tail. So you say, well, it's not this, it's something like this, but to actually describe it, the best way is to see it. Or if somebody's never eaten a gulab jamun or a samosa, right? And you're trying to describe to somebody, oh, there's this thing, gulab jamun, and it's like this, and like, you try your best, but the best way is for the person to actually taste it, then he knows. So the empiricist or the impersonalist, they cannot give a definitive answer to the absolute truth. At best, they can describe it philosophically and tell you what it's not. So here, Brahma said the devotees, they throw away that. What verse in Bhagavad Gītā tells us about realizing the absolute truth in the impersonal path? What is the word that Krishna uses? No, I'm thinking of chapter 12, verse 5. Those who worship Krishna impersonally get what? What does that mean? Trouble, miseries. So the devotees, they don't pursue that impersonal path because it's troublesome. Klesho adhikataras tesham. The impersonal path is there, but it's full of troubles. Brahma continues, please repeat. Those devotees should hear from a self-realized devotee about your holy name, form, pastimes, and qualities. So keep in mind, Brahma is speaking to Krishna directly. So he's directly talking to Krishna. So he's saying, the impersonalist path the devotees reject. What did they do instead? They hear from devotees. Okay, self-realized devotee. No, you're correct. No, it's okay. It's exactly what it's written. I'm not going to self-realize. Should hear from self-realized devotees about Krishna's name, form, pastimes, and qualities. They should completely follow the principles of devotional service and remain free from illicit sex, gambling, intoxication, and animal slaughter. So this is why in Prabhupada's movement, this is essential. Because you're not going to realize God unless you follow these four regulative principles. This is mandatory. It's not optional. If you're serious about understanding God, that's why Prabhupada would not accept any disciple who did not vow. Tomorrow, Rupal's taking initiation. Did you know that? Right? So we're all going to hear her. Because Bhakti True Maharaj is going to say, what are the four regulative principles? And Rupal wrote me, and I said, make sure you memorize the four regulative principles, because it happens more often than you think. What are the four regulative principles? It happens. You've said it 1 billion times, but on that day, it happens. So we're all going to see that. Okay, then. Surrendering themselves fully with body, words, and mind, they can live in any ashram or social status. So that's why this verse. Look at what Brahma is saying. They can live in any ashram or social status. Doesn't matter whether you're a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra. That's what he means, social, or any ashram. Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi. The Mayavadis first tell the people, first take sannyas, then come see us. But that's not what Lord Brahma told Krishna. They can live in any ashram, in any social status. But they have to hear from who, Batuk?
Self-realized devotee.
Ah, very good. Self-realized devotees. Indeed, you are conquered by such persons, although you are always unconquerable. What name of Krishna means unconquerable? Ajita. Ajita. But you can conquer the Ajita by this process. So let's review. What do you reject? The impersonal path. And what do? You
Hear from
Oh, what did you say now? No. I heard you say something different. Did you say self-realized?
Bona fide, he said.
Who said bona fide? All right, she says bona fide. I'll accept that. Batuk says self-realized. The verse says self-realized. It's okay. All right, so you reject the impersonal and you begin to hear from self-realized bona fide devotees.
Well, it means self-realized is bona fide.
Of course. Of course. Okay. And what do you strictly follow? How many?
4.
Not 3.5?
No.
4. Very good. And does it matter who you are? Does it matter where you come from? Right. And last class we had here, we pointed out that other verse in 9th chapter. Manhi parta vyapasritya yepi su papa yonaya. You've heard me tell the story. What did Prabhupada call me? Papa yonaya. More than once to that Hindu lady. But he was explaining this point. It didn't matter that I wasn't born in a Hindu family. It didn't matter. Because Lord Brahma's prayers to Krishna is any ashram from any social status. Otherwise, why are we following Haridas Thakur? He's a Muslim. He's a terrorist. Right? But no, he is a self-realized pure devotee. And if you do this, who do you conquer? Krishna, who is known as, or somebody who is unconquerable. Very good. Dr. Garmakar, you usually have a question. Come on. Come on. I know you have a question. It's lurking in there somewhere. You sure? You got one. You have a question, Rohan? Yes?
In the chapter you are reading, there is a question, right? I didn't get that properly. When Krishna, as a cowherd boy, right? Parikshit Maharaj asked the question, when the son is other son, they are thinking like the Krishna, right? And the Parikshit Maharaj, he was asking the question. So how he got attached with that, the kids, remember that question is there?
Okay, let me see if I understand your question properly.
So how they can love instead of...
Okay, the Parikshits, because Shukadev, the story was, first of all, the cowherd boys and calves looked exactly like their real children. So they didn't know any better. But what happened was, and Balaram saw it, that now the parents and the cows were showing more affection. But they didn't know any different because it looked exactly like their calf or their son. But Balaram noticed that funny behavior, that when the cows came running down Govardhan Hill, licking the calves, and when the cowherd men who were at first angry because the cows did that, but then when they saw their sons in the middle of the day, they started smelling their children and hugging them and crying. And Balaram's going, what's this? This is very peculiar behavior. And then Balaram looked at Krishna and said, Krishna, is this what I think you're doing? Are you doing something? And then Krishna said, yes. Because Balaram didn't know either. Yes, because it was his birthday. And he was home getting ready for his party. He didn't go to the cowherd pastures that day. So he didn't even know, which is very interesting. Is Balaram God? And he didn't know? What does that tell you? It means that if Krishna doesn't want you to know something, even if you're God, you're not going to know. So that also tells you that Krishna is what? That's right. Here's another little example of how Krishna is superior because even Balaram didn't know. Very interesting, isn't it? Any other questions? Rama? What about? No? Piyush? Any questions? How is my doctor friend? Any questions?
You know, we talked about the nature and God's assigned duties, and then people have their own designated role in this world, and no matter what kind of material role you play in terms of whatever profession, it may or may not match with your nature assigned duties. So there is some kind of incongruence. But if you do not keep that in mind and hung up on those things and struggle, but just give it up in Krishna's services, everything ultimately would be taken care of.
That is a very surrendered platform.
And then the Karma Yoga in chapter 3, I was just looking at it. It's very similar concept that it's not the same, but it says you have material duties and spiritual. So you want to just not get too much sucked up in a material world, and if you detach and still do your duties, you will ultimately go back to Godhead or something similar to that.
It is provided you worship the Supreme Lord. Because there is a philosophy. There is a philosophy people who say, you don't have to worship the Supreme Lord, you just have to do your duty. But that will not get you liberation, just doing your duty. And that's not what Krishna said either. He said, by worship of the Supreme Lord and doing your prescribed duty. And that's also the message of Bhagavatam. Not just doing your prescribed duty, which is what some people think. I've heard it many times. Doesn't matter whether I believe in God or... That's called karma mimamsa. That was one of the arguments Krishna was trying to use to get Nanda Maharaj not to worship Indra. Krishna was saying, it doesn't matter if there's a God or not. Do your prescribed duties. But that's not enough. The real philosophy is, as we read, you do your prescribed duties and you worship the Supreme Lord. And of course, I have to ask the question, in Kali Yuga, how do you worship the Supreme Lord, Keshava? That's right. You have to chant the holy name. What's the verse? Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. Kalo Nastyeva, Nastyeva, Nastyeva Gatiranyata. Anyone who's my student has to know at least two mantras. Trinadapi and Hare Nama. Of course, Hare Krishna. Did you raise your hand, doctor?
Question came now.
Huh?
Question came.
Yes.
If somebody's nature is to, he's a thief, and his nature is to steal.
What should he do?
Yeah, what
He should steal and give all the profits to the temple? I've answered you. He can steal and give everything to the temple until he gets caught. That's his only solution.
But what happens if he is not a
Then he should neither live nor die. Now, what else? Okay, you got to come in so I can hear you. Because it's the Purushottam Adhik Mas, and like during the month of Kartik, there are special blessings. So in this month is the same way. Any kind of devotional activities you do, you're getting more bang for your buck. You're getting a better return on your investment. So take advantage of this month, because whatever you're doing, the benefits are multiplied. It's special blessings arranged by Krishna. Just like what's today? So if you do the Ekadasi fast, what happens? You get so much benefits. If you fast from grains yesterday, you don't get any benefit. You could say, I'm going to fast tomorrow. No. This is the day you fast from grains and beans, and this is the day you get the benefits. Not tomorrow. You got to do things when you're supposed to. So this month is special month. Make sure you do what, Keshav? Chant the holy name. Read Bhagavad Gita and associate with a self-realized soul.
Especially they said 15th chapter of the Gita.
Oh, really? 15th chapter? Well.
There's the Bhagavatam 14, 10, 14.
10?
14, Brahma's prayers.
Oh, this?
So we should do this.
Very good. Well, I did one.
Kartik month you donate. Now, at this month you read the Bhagavad Gita.
No, Kartik, you do more than just...
Yeah, other things.
Kartik, you do all kinds of things. You're supposed to sing that Damodar prayer.
So this month is Bhakti month.
So is Kartik. Kartik is also bhakti. Kartik is all about bhakti. Yeah, Kartik is... Yeah.
So Nanda Babu, like you said, if we chant more rounds, we get 100 times the benefit.
I didn't say 100, you get more.
I heard somewhere it's 100 times.
All right, whatever it is.
Okay, so you get benefit. That's what I
You get more bang for your buck.
Right. So what happens if that person is doing sinful activity? Does he get that reaction?
I don't know. Does it say anything? I don't know. I don't know. Don't even, hello. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. No negativity. I don't know what happens. But can I say something about Rupal? So, this will be my first, I think this is my first student who is getting initiated. As I look at all my students that I had over the years, she's going to be my first initiated student. So this is special. Time, oh, GBC. We're over time. Sorry, GBC. Okay, Hiran, I want you to lead an ecstatic Purushottam Adhik Mas Kirtan.